come on. That's crazy.
This painting is one of the masterpieces of the artist's career. The guest got it as a gift from her ex-husband. They didn't know its value at first, but then they learned it was a colorful picture by the famous artist Warhol. It was from a series he did featuring soup cans. They discussed how Warhol liked soup as a kid, so he painted them. Details were shared about how the picture was made and how many copies existed. Despite its age, the picture was still in good shape. The person was shocked to find out that it could be worth $50,000. They mentioned that some soup pictures were worth even more, like the one with tomato soup.
What? Come on. That's crazy. My goodness. I don't know. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say.
This item has been in the Guest family for 3 generations, passed down from the wife's grandmother to her mother, and then to the wife. The plaque was designed by Heinrich Schlitt, an artist from Munich known for his special commission work for Metlock. The item is a decorative plaque or charger made by Metlock. It's a division of Villeroy and Boch, known for their stoneware beer steins and decorative plaques. The plaque is marked with a castle symbol and the word Metlock, along with VB in 01, indicating it was made in 1901. The scene on the plaque is unusual and vivid, depicting a dwarf eating porridge in a forest. Collectors value these plaques for their unusual scenes. This particular plaque would retail for $3,000 to $5,000 due to its rarity and desirability.
Such an outrageous scene. Wow.
The guest came with an autographed Arthur Bishop Jeffreys Vikings of the Air painting. He got this painting from his father. His father was an aviation buff, and he got his painting as collateral from a Lady Novelle. The signatures of famous pilots were on it when he got it. The painting was done by Arthur Bishop Jeffreys. We have this incredible scene called Vikings of the Air, an aviation scene. But what makes this oil on canvas so incredibly special, besides its theme, is the signatures. 10 or 12 signatures here. It's just incredible. This is an extraordinarily special painting, not just because of the subject matter, but because of the signatures as well. The painting appraised for $10,000 to $15,000. The host presented Field Trip, Architecture Remnants. This is the arch that served as the entrance to the old Chicago Stock Exchange by Louis Sullivan. Some buildings are still standing, but many buildings no longer exist, like the Chicago Stock Exchange. Standing in front of this incredible elevator bank from the first floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange is Louis Sullivan. He's the father of the modern skyscraper. It's a symphony of motifs from the period, and it's a classic Sullivan. When the building was demolished, sadly, in 1972, some survived. Frank Lloyd Wright, one of his most famous students, undoubtedly is one of America's greatest architects. This work was built for the Avery Coonley Playhouse in Riverside, Illinois. He called it the Kinder Symphony. Kinder Symphony was appraised in the $400,000 range or more.
Well, it's just beautiful, as are all of the architectural relics you see here in the museum, but you certainly picked 2 wonderful ones to showcase. Thanks so much, Lee.
The guest came with Selmer Mark VI saxophone and mouthpieces. He bought it during his freshman year at college. He started a band during his senior year in high school and carried that through college. Selmer Mark VI alto saxophone was made in Paris. Vintage horns are more desirable than even the best horns that are made today. The condition is spectacularly good. 3 mouthpieces here. They were called Brilliant Metal Duckbills. This is a tenor mouthpiece, $700 worth of vintage mouthpieces. Selmer Mark VI saxophone and mouthpieces appraised for $6,700. The guest came with a World Trade Center bus stop poster. He got it from a guy in the Bronx at the bus stop. He bought lunch for the guy, and he gave him this. What a powerful symbol the World Trade Center is for people around the world. The artist was Paul Shaw, and it was such a painstaking work that it took him 100 hours to do. These are typographed structures depicting the Twin Towers, and the words here are, all things are food, sights. This piece has some kind of emotional resonance, appraised between $2,000 and $3,000.
Wow, that's incredible.
Let's find out the latest price of the 18th century Chinese Famille Noire vase that the guest bought for $10 at a garage sale.
$10.
$10. Do you know the country of origin?
No, I know absolutely nothing about it. I just saw it and I liked it.
That's the best reason to buy a piece.
The vase is decorated in a Famille Noire style with prunus blossoms, a pheasant, and bamboo groves in a gourd shape. On the bottom vase bears a Ming mark dated 1465, but it was not made in 1465. It was actually made in the 18th century. Collecting Chinese antiques can be problematic, as the year of production is doubtful. By tipping the vase over, we can see the exposed worn foot trim. The underglaze mark is one-dimensional blue with a freely painted style. Items like this are in high demand in the marketplace. Being an 18th century rare vase, its value at auction
would be $30,000 to $50,000.
Oh my gosh. Well,
So
I am quite surprised. I had
a prudent $10 investment.
Right.
This is not your ordinary clock. This is a piece of history. Back in the 1960s, near Cambridge, someone wanted a clock for their cottage with a low ceiling. They found one at a farm sale, hidden behind an old mattress in a dusty barn. They snagged it for just $15. Though it looked old-fashioned on the outside, its insides were actually newer. They found a mark inside that said Clarkenwell, a place in London famous for making clocks. Even though it wasn't super old, the clock looked nice and could be worth $1,500 now.
In a shop.
Right. Wonderful.
The guest came with a Thomas Webb and Sons Burmese glass vase. She got it from her mother. Thomas Webb and Sons was an English company founded in 1837 by Thomas Webb. This vase is special because it's made of decorated Burmese glass. This type of glass first started in the United States. But what makes this so exceptional is the decoration on it. It has beautiful chrysanthemums. It also has this beautiful butterfly, decorated collar, gold outlining it, and even around the foot. The original retailer sticker, the store was Phillips, and it says Oxford Street, which was in London. The vase was appraised for $4,000 to $5,000.
Thank you. Welcome.
An ink drawing was brought by this lady who purchased it for $280 at an exhibition. There was also a catalog which contained the drawing titled Leichter Verfall, or Slight Deterioration, created in 1927 by the renowned Swiss artist Paul Klee. The appraiser highlighted Klee's signature in the upper right-hand corner. The artist had delicate, meditative, and surrealistic work.
An artist who has an association with Expressionism, has an association with Cubism, a little bit of an association with Surrealism.
The guest also brought a book which contained a copy of the drawing, and it was entitled 5 Essays on Klee. Despite some damage, the artist's work is well known today, with many collectors looking to acquire his works. It was recommended to restore it professionally to raise its value. The appraiser valued the drawing at
$25,000 to $40,000.
Wow. That's a pretty good price.
This is the ultimate collection of Abraham Lincoln memorabilia, passed down through the family, originated from a devoted Illinois collector. Despite some items being donated to the Library of Congress, 2 significant letters from Lincoln to General Halleck remained within the family's possession. These letters, penned during the Civil War, showcased Lincoln's diplomatic approach to officer promotions while respecting military hierarchy. Alongside the letters, a carte de visite featuring a Lincoln photograph, authenticated by his secretary John Hay, added further historical value. The collection's rarity and impeccable condition contributed to its estimated worth of $75,000 to $100,000.
That's amazing.
The guest brought in a lamp he had traded around 15 to 18 years ago in exchange for a wrought iron coffee table. The appraiser identified it as a distinctive piece crafted by Dirk Van Herp, a renowned maker. It contained the classic windmill mark with the name Dirk Van Herp underneath, confirming its authenticity. This particular lamp was considered rare, with only 6 known examples of its form in existence. It was originally designed for oil use around 1910, featuring a distinctive form of hand-hammered copper combined with mica. Despite its rarity, the lamp underwent alterations, being converted to electricity and then to reverting to its original oil use. The appraiser estimated its value to be,
because of the alterations, probably worth around $50,000 to $75,000. So it's a great thing. Thank you for bringing it.
Thank you very much.
This banjo clock has been inherited by the guest from his mother. The clock was made around 1825 by Joseph Nye Dunning, along with Lemuel Curtis in Burlington, Vermont.
And as a clock collector, you probably know that name and probably know both names.
Yeah.
The clock is named the Banjo Clock due to its resemblance to a banjo. Joseph Nye Dunning and Lemuel Curtis opened a jewelry store where they sold various items, including timepieces. Although it lacks a visible signature, its stylistic icon speaks for itself, and it's in wonderful decorative condition. This clock was made to sit on a mantle above the fireplace. Can you guess the value of this banjo clock?
It's probably in the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
Oh, wow. That is, wow, that is amazing. Yeah.
This guest brought this impressive family heirloom, an Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec poster, to the show. This is a very rare piece that you'd be lucky to see in the poster market.
Not a cat lover. So the family lore goes, my grandmother did not want it displayed.
Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec was a French painter, illustrator, and printmaker who was known for his provocative usage of posters to describe the decadence in France around 1891, and also for musical performers. This particular poster is a 4-color design that depicts a woman in red holding a small black cat. Interestingly, the name May Belfort, written beneath the poster, indicates that the piece was a musical poster made for May Belfort, who was a well-known Irish singer and performer. The poster creates an imagination of May Belfort on stage and a simple representation of the stage background. This is a signed work of a famous poster artist, but not in great condition. The poster is valued at around $4,000 to $6,000.
Okay. Well, that's very nice. No, that's perfect. We're going to keep it.
The guest bought these Scottish pistols for $700 in 1977 in Scotland while serving in the Navy.
Well, you brought back a very nice pair of all-metal Scottish pistols.
These pistols are signed by John Campbell from Perthshire, Scotland. There were 3 generations of excellent craftsmen among the Campbell gunsmiths from 1710 to 1790. It's unusual to have a pair in such excellent condition. These pistols feature a ram's horn butt, a belt hook, and intricate Baroque chasing. The fluting and trigger are also magnificent.
These are as fine a pair of pistols as I've seen, and you should be very proud to have them.
Let's see the value of these pistols.
$1,500 to $2,000.
I think that they're easily worth $12,000 to $15,000. Should insure them.
I didn't realize that they were that valuable, but I know they're very pretty.
This nice Gruby-lobed vase was brought to the show by this guest. This is a logic-defying vase with a shape that breaks any flowers inserted into the vase in 3 compartments. The vase was made by William H. Gruby, who was an American-born potter and businessman. This vase includes a Gruby Faience Company production stamp, which was the company signature used around 1905. The incredible Gruby shapes, glazes, and decorations are timeless productions that are special to behold. This particular vase earned Gruby plaudits all over America, and it later turned out to be the template that defines American art and craft. This vase is worth around $1,500 to $2,000.
That's good news. I hadn't any idea of that. Very nice.
This Steiff teddy bear was brought to the show by a guest who inherited it from her father's oldest sister. This bear was made by Margaret Steiff, a German seamstress who in 1880 founded Margriet Steiff GmbH, more widely known as Steiff. The guest indicates that her father's oldest sister, who owns the bear, was born in 1908, suggesting that the bear was made around 1903 to 1910. The bear carries a Steiff button, indicating the company name. It also features shoe button eyes, with unusually long arms and large feet. This is one of the most sought-after bears due to its collectible size. The estimated value of this bear should be around $1,500 to $2,000.
That's wonderful.
The value of this tiny, beautiful ring will leave you shocked. Engraved with the name Lalique on the side. Lalique is a French company known for jewelry and glass pottery. It's a rare and truly beautiful item. The guest got it from
old gentleman who lived next door. We made a lot of
It was on his own, left on his own, and we looked after him and so on. He was 94 years old.
And did he know about whatever?
I don't really know.
It was made by
that it's made by one of the towering geniuses of the Art Nouveau movement.
The green part is made of a particular type of an animal called plaque azure. It was crafted with a Japanese technique.
Suggesting the veins in leaves and the veins in the wings of buzzing insects with pierced gold, and then he'd hold the enamel in suspension like a bubble, and it gives a little bit of naturalism, or more than a little bit of naturalism.
This is a work of art that people love to collect, and at auction, it would sell for.
I think maybe 5,000, maybe 6,000 wouldn't be completely mad.
What we have here is a Henry Siddons Mowbray painting that was brought to the show by his grandson, who happens to be our guest. This is an incredible painting that was influenced by American Renaissance and classical themes. This type of painting sums up the work of Henry Siddons Mowbray, who was a well-revered artist known for his great pieces commissioned for the J.P. Morgan Museum, F.W. Vanderbilt's residence, and other residences mostly in New York and Newport. This painting depicts muses and virtues and also includes allegorical figures. Additionally, the painting features roses, petals, and other captivating aesthetics. As a fine representation of the Renaissance period, this painting is worth an estimated value of $50,000 to $70,000.
Wow. I could never sell it, unfortunately. It would stay in the family.
It was inherited from her aunt, who got it from her husband during their marriage. It's an interesting cluster ring with a diamond at the center and another one at the side.
But the thing about this ring that's most interesting is this one, because this is a bluey-green one. All diamond set, but all different colors.
Finding colored diamonds is really rare, and this one is quite exciting because
one of the rarest colors that you can find are blue, and even rarer is the color green.
The surrounding line of diamonds around the principal three are from a different era.
I think it's certainly Victorian, this cluster, with this type of silver setting, this nipped-in setting here.
The three principal diamonds are all claw-set stones. At an auction, this beautiful diamond ring is worth,
and say hopefully at least £2,500 to £3,000, but it could very well be worth £5,000 with all the right gradings.
Well, that's very good news.
The guest collection consists of items belonging to their father from World War II, specifically from the guest's father's service in lighter-than-air airships. The U.S. Navy used non-rigid airships for various purposes during World War II.
They were used for air and sea rescue, scouting, minesweeping, and aerial photography.
The collection includes the guest father's flight log, orders from Blimp Headquarters Squadron 1, photographs, dog tags, wings, and a piece of blimp skin with his name on it. The wings and the dog tags are indicative of his role as an aircrew member, and the piece of blimp skin is a unique souvenir from his service. The collection is considered complete, and the value is estimated at $3,000 to $5,000.
That's fantastic. Won't ever sell, it's going to stay in the family.
This English pottery jug is known as a Liverpool jug. Richard Chaffers was the founder of this jug factory around 1754. These jugs were made a lot in Liverpool. The guest acquired this Liverpool jug from a barn sale for just a few dollars. Liverpool jugs are traditionally valued, especially those depicting American historical subjects. The jug's value highlights the potential treasures that can be found in unexpected places, like a simple barn sale. Despite its humble acquisition, at a good auction, this jug could fetch between $5,000 to $7,000.
That's wonderful.
Makes you wonder what else was in the barn.
Yeah, exactly right.
The guest shared an interesting story of buying a surveyor's compass from an antique shop in Salina, Kansas. It was purchased in 1970 for $120. The intriguing piece boasted fine craftsmanship with the name G. Chandley engraved on it. The appraiser identified it as made by Goldsmith Chandley, a renowned Quaker clockmaker in the 18th century.
And in 1783, he moved to Winchester, Virginia, and started his own business.
The compass was made between 1783 and 1795. Despite not having the original tripod stand, the appraiser valued them at...
This is worth $20,000 to $25,000 retail.
This oil painting by A.J. Cason, a member of the Group of Seven, holds a special significance for our guest. The guest's grandfather, who was friends with Cason, gave this painting to him as a gift. A.J. Cason was known for his flat and broad style with areas of color, and he was not financially successful as an artist until later in his life, despite his artistic renown. The Group of Seven, founded around 1920, was a dynamic group, with members joining and leaving over the years. Cason joined the group around 1926 and remained active in the Toronto art scene throughout his life. This painting, likely from the 1930s or 1940s, is estimated to be worth between $25,000 to $35,000 at auction.
Yes. Well, thanks a lot for bringing it. Thank you.
The guest brought a Space Conqueror robot to the show. She inherited it from her cousin's estate. The Space Conqueror robot was designed by Raymond Kurzweil in 1965. It is one of the first robots ever created. It was designed to be used in space exploration. It had artificial intelligence, allowing it to learn and make decisions on its own. It had sophisticated sensors for detecting and navigating around obstacles. It had a mechanical arm for manipulating objects in space. Its design was very advanced for its time. The appraiser values it at...
Well, why don't we round $297, call it $3, and then we'll put another zero behind it.
Really?
Yes, $3,000.
Oh, my golly. I can't believe it.
At auction, that's what it should bring.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
This is a Carabao rug that was graciously brought to the show by this guest, who inherited it from her grandmother. The rug was crafted in the southern Caucasus Mountains of southern Russia, possibly by a nomadic Kurdish tribe. This rug is often referred to as the Qasim Usag rug, and is estimated to have been made around 1920 due to the synthetic dyes on the embroidery. This is a versatile piece designed to complement any room in the house. One striking feature of this rug is its beautiful curled leaf design, created with a special and timeless embroidery technique. Still in excellent condition, this rug is a valuable asset at the auction. This rug should have an estimated worth of around $8,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
These two paintings by Edgar Paxson, acquired by our guest in November of 1986, are a remarkable find. Edgar Paxson, a self-taught American Western artist, was captivated by the frontier, influenced by James Fenimore Cooper's novels. Known for his detailed watercolors, Paxson's work depict both the romanticized and realistic aspects of the West's changing landscape. One painting, dated 1907, features a detailed depiction of an Indian on horseback, showcasing intricate costume details and jewelry. The other painting, livelier and action-packed, captures the romanticized vision of Western activities. These paintings are valuable pieces of American Western art, reflecting Paxson's skill and historical significance. Each painting has an auction estimate of $15,000 to $20,000.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Take a good look at this extraordinary collection of Georgian and Victorian jewelry, handed down to the guest by her grandmother, who died at the age of 102. First, we have this Georgian gold Bella link chain.
And typically it's got a hand clasp terminating at the bottom. On the finger of the clasp is this little gem set ring. It's a beautiful little piece.
The other gold chain was made in 1825 out of spun gold. Then we have these mourning rings.
Now, the thing about mourning rings is, of course, when someone died, it was customary to commemorate the person by...
Then at the back of the ring, you will see the person's name and date of death.
And then also you might find a tiny little locket compartment where there would be a small lock of hair.
Next, we have a late Victorian gold ring with a sapphire center surrounded by half pearls. Being such a vast collection, at auction, the gold chain would sell for...
That by itself is probably worth something around £1,000.
This fine mesh chain is worth...
That's probably worth around about £600 to £800.
The rings are worth...
That's worth about £800 to £1,000.
And the mourning rings are worth about...
The mourning rings are worth between £300 and £400 each.
God. Oh, didn't realise that at all.
It really is a unique collection.
This guest brought this exquisite arts and crafts sideboard to the show. This is a Scottish or English sideboard representing the mass-produced handcrafted aesthetics of the arts and crafts movement in Britain. Adorned with the beautiful markings of a quarter-sawn oak wood, this furniture showcases the absence of machine-style craftsmanship in its making. The sideboard features bow glass windows above a small glassware compartment. It also boasts Art Nouveau-styled heart-shaped hinges and intricate hand beadings. This design mechanism represents the mission-style furniture aesthetic. The furniture is estimated to be worth around $4,000 to $6,000. This lamp isn't just meant for functional illumination on a side table. The lamp is special to a family from North Carolina, originally from the Reynolds family of Reynolds Tobacco. It was made as a vase in France long ago, using a delicate technique called Pate-sur-pate, which makes it look see-through. Even though it was meant to be a vase, it got turned into a lamp later on. It's a pretty sky blue color, with fancy decorations and platinum details. Despite being a lamp now, it could be turned back into a vase. It might sell for $2,000 to $3,000 at auction, but without the hole, it could be worth even more. This lamp shows that Grandma had a good eye for beautiful things.
Wow. If it did not have that hole, it would probably be worth closer to $4,000.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
The guest came with Alexej von Jawlensky meditation oil. She inherited this painting from her mother. The artist is Alexej Jawlensky. He was a Russian expressionist painter active in Germany. He was a good painter with bright colors and dramatic outlines. He did a whole series of these face paintings. From about 1934 to 1937, he did these meditations. The materials are oil on the paperboard. Smaller meditations, but it's a little bit somber in its tone. This is very typical of his works at the time and appraised for $50,000 to $70,000.
Cool. Thank you.
It'd be about $50,000 to $70,000 at auction.
The guest came with the Babe Ruth archive. She got these when Ella Simon, a family friend, passed away in 1983. Babe Ruth archive has a Babe Ruth ball, a picture of Babe Ruth, and an autographed picture of him. The baseball is signed by several All-Stars and Hall of Famers, 12 signatures in all. The book was given to Ellis by Babe, autographed in the front, a beautiful fountain pen signature. The large photo is personalized to Ellis. This was taken during the shooting of the movie, which has a little bit of wear, and it appraised at $300. The beautiful large photo was appraised for $15,000 to $20,000.
Wow. Great. Thank you.
The guest came with Andrew Clemens sand art. He inherited it from his grandfather. It was presented to his great-grandfather around the end of the Civil War. It's colored sand in a jar. It's an incredible piece of sand art. On the back, you see this wonderful eagle with the 36-star flag. The label at the bottom is Pictured Rock and Sand by A. Clemens, deaf mute from McGregor, Iowa. It is a remarkable piece of folk art. Sand art is appraised between $4,000 and $6,000.
Great piece.
It's great.
It looks like a type of wardrobe, but this oddly shaped looking item is a commode. In modern times, commode has come to mean a toilet, but in earlier times and to antique lovers, it means an elaborate chest of drawers. This commode was retailed by a company called Goodwin & Company.
Founder of it, he was an Irish immigrant, and he was very prolific. At his peak, he was selling more than $1 million worth of furniture on an annual basis and employed up to 350 people.
Which was famous in the 19th century as a famed furniture dealer. The other item we have embedded in the commode is a lithograph. This lithograph is embedded on tin and depicts a shoe advertisement.
They were one of the earliest, and today the most desirable lithographers of advertising in the marketplace.
During the 19th century, lithography was one of the forms of advertising used. The commode and lithograph complement one another, and so at auction they would be worth
$2,000 to $3,000 in this condition.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great.
Owning a collection of posters from World War II is remarkable. Today's guest has had a collection of 70 World War II posters in her closet for over 20 years. Out of the 70 posters, she brought the 4 that stood out in particular. These posters vary greatly, with some being more artistic and rare than others. Among the selected posters, 3 are American and 1 is British, with 2 signed by famous artists.
The one on top is Jean Carlou, who was in fact a French artist working in America during the Second World War. Interesting to note, as a graphic designer, he only had 1 arm.
Out of the 2 American posters signed by famous artists, one features a powerful design, while the other depicts a war-weary machine gunner.
Whoa. It shows a war-weary machine gunner at the front lines. He's in the heat of battle, and the idea is don't let him run out of ammunition when he needs it the most.
The third American poster is designed to generate hostility against the enemy, featuring a provocative image of a swastika and a Bible. The British poster references Winston Churchill's famous speech about the Royal Air Force during the Battle of Britain. At auction, these war posters, each with its own significance and story, would individually fetch
between $500 and $750.
Golly.
The British one, on its own, between $1,500 and $2,000. The Norman Rockwell, $1,000 to $1,500. The Carlou is, I think, the best of the lot. At auction, I would estimate that between $2,000 and $3,000.
The guest brought in a picture of Lookout Mountain that came from her husband's grandmother's family. It was identified as an original large folio Currier and Ives print. Currier and Ives was a prolific printmaking firm based in New York City, operating from 1835 to 1907. The company became famous for producing affordable hand-painted lithographs. The particular print was considered valuable due to its excellent depiction of Lookout Mountain. The remarkable American landscape featured a train, making it more desirable to collectors. Additionally, the print's well-preserved colors added to its value. The appraiser recommended having the spots on the print cleaned. After this restoration, the print's value could increase to about...
So then it would be worth about $6,000 to $6,500.
Okay.
That would also help preserve it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
It's a great thing.
Today's piece is the mascot display of the Hush Puppies Company. Hush Puppies is an American brand of casual footwear, and they use a basset hound named Jason as their logo. This display features Jason sitting in a friendly pose, creating an inviting visual presence, and serves as a memorable part of the customer's interaction with the brand. What do you think this piece from one of America's top footwear companies would be valued at?
And I said, how much is that dog in the window? And they said $50, and I said sold.
This Beatrice Wood group consists of several exquisite ceramic pieces created by renowned artist Beatrice Wood, an American artist and studio potter involved in the avant-garde movement in the United States, and she was affectionately known as Beato. This guest grandmother was close friends with Beatrice and frequently corresponded with her.
And my grandmother was as well. I believe they met in Hollywood, possibly in the 30s, attending I think it was a ceramics.
Beatrice, who came from a wealthy family, was a free spirit who pursued her passion for ceramics despite societal expectations. The collection includes a glaze, a bowl, and a self-portrait, and all three pieces in the group are signed Beto. As seen, these pieces exhibit her characteristic volcanic glaze, dating from the 1970s to the 1990s. However, these pieces showcase the work and creativity of a prominent artist, and at auction would fetch
In the 700 to 900 range.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
royalty. That's the first thing that this uncommon vase communicates. We can see the superior shine from its surface. This vase represents the sheer expertise of the Japanese, and that's why it's called a Japanese cloisonne palace vase. The vase is called a cloisonne due to its enameling process.
Enamel material is placed in amongst metal strands on a bronze body, and then fired a number of different times to produce these wonderful colors.
There are dragons and floral engravings on the surface to enhance its beauty. At auction, this Japanese work of art in the form of a vase would auction at
$8,000 to $12,000 at auction.
The collection of baseball gloves was acquired over 35 years from flea markets and garage sales, reflecting the guest's love for baseball. The use of gloves in baseball evolved from being considered unmanly in the early to mid-1800s to becoming a necessity due to the risk of injuries, especially with the introduction of professional baseball in 1869. The collection includes gloves from the 1940s with early Webb designs, a buckleback catcher's mitt from the 1930s, and a rare white buckskin crescent glove from the 1880s, known for its asbestos lining. The crescent glove, being a left-hander's glove and in excellent condition, is valued at an insurance value of around $4,000, while the other gloves from the collection are valued at lower prices based on their age and rarity.
Get up close and personal with the animal kingdom's most iconic quadrupeds, captured in these stunning prints. Our guest inherited these prints from her grandparents. These prints were made circa 1843 to 1848 by John James Audubon. Audubon was a French-American self-trained artist, naturalist, and ornithologist.
And this was really the last project that Audubon worked on before he died.
Peculiar to his works, these paintings are life-size and were painted on imperial folio papers. Depicted in the paintings are deer in their natural environment. Given that the paintings are large in size and also among the best works of Audubon, the painting of the fawn is estimated to be worth
About $8,500.
Wow.
while the other painting depicting two deer would be valued at
$28,000.
Wow.
These pieces aren't just aesthetically pleasing, they exemplify culture and heritage. As a family heirloom, it has been in the guest family for generations. This beautiful set is North Carolina pottery, crafted by Walter Stephen. Stephen was an American potter, best known for his unique line of functional pottery featuring painted layers of porcelain on stoneware. These pieces are dated circa 1950. With their stunning appearance and good condition, they are estimated to be worth,
as a group, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500.
The guest brought a chair owned by her husband's ancestor, General William Floyd. General William Floyd was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. The chair was a garden chair or garden Windsor from the 18th century America. It was made in New York in the 1790s, likely by William McBride, a renowned Windsor chairmaker. It had distinctive features of McBride's work, including the turning shape, bulbous shape, and tapered feet. The chair's original feet were remarkably well preserved, considering its age and outdoor use. The guest was thrilled to learn about the chair and planned to keep it in the family. Due to the chair's historical significance, craftsmanship, and value, the appraiser valued it at
He wrote down $10,000.
$10,000, okay. Are you surprised?
I am, and very pleased.
Behold, a seemingly brass container of great beauty. The guest acquired this inkwell for an improvised use, to serve as her coffee table. After opening the inkwell, we see a compartment for pens and a glass liner, which reduces ink stains.
Okay.
It was made in Austria in the early part of the 20th century.
An innovative Austrian architect made this inkwell in the early 19th century. Joseph Hoffmann, co-founder of the Wiener Werkstatt, an organization of Austrian artists who produced various artworks.
They're very, very clearly marked. We see Hoffmann's monogram, which is a J and an H.
Looking closely, we see a carefully marked monogram of Joseph Hoffmann, JH, and other monograms such as Made in Austria and Wiener Werkstatt. What sets this artwork apart is not just its rarity, but the brass material it is made from, further pushing up its demand. And so at auction, this art piece could cost
$6,000, maybe even $7,000 range.
Oh, man. Awesome.
The guest brought a pair of dolls she received as a gift from the children of her elderly deceased friend. The dolls were designed by Georgene Averill, an American designer. Georgene Averill's designs were highly regarded in the doll collecting community. The dolls were produced in Germany. The dolls' German production adds to their value and authenticity. They featured intricate hair and glass eyes that could close. The staggering worth of the duo was a testament to the treasure's value, being estimated at
$1,500 for the pair.
Oh my goodness, I had no idea. A doll can be that valuable?
Yeah.
The guest bought this ring at a yard sale for $100, and this item was crafted by Erich de Kolb, an Austrian-born sculptor, jewelry, and fashion designer. This is a 14-karat gold ring made in 1965, featuring a sculpture of a figure on the top of the ring and also sculptures on the sides. The artist's name is engraved inside, indicating its authenticity. This 14-karat gold ring, with sculptures of figures all over, would be valued at about
$1,500. Oh, wow. Isn't that great? Yeah. I'm glad you went to the sale.
Yeah.
Scottish creativity at its peak. That's what this agate bracelet is. These types of antique bracelets gained popularity in the mid-19th century, and it was largely due to Queen Victoria's love of Scottish jewelry.
And Scottish jewelry became all the rage in England because of Victoria's love for Scotland. This traditional Scottish jewelry, as we see in this bracelet.
The bracelet is finely inlaid with rare agate gemstones, which enhance the bracelet's appeal. The bracelet is distinct because most Scottish jewelry is made from silver.
It's a gold Scottish bracelet from about 1860 in its original case.
But this is made from high-quality gold, which is associated with royalty. Given the history of this bracelet in the royal family, it would auction at the estimated value of
$2,500, and that's more on the top end of what Scottish jewelry is worth today.
This guest, though, is not one of them, as she holds these treasured family items related to the Titanic disaster. Albert Caldwell, the guest's great-uncle, was a survivor of the Titanic along with his wife, Sylvia, and their baby. Clearly seen is a photograph of the family on the deck of the Titanic and a booklet written by Sylvia in 1912 titled, Women of the Titanic Disaster.
It's very touching. It starts with her rocking her baby, probably about August of 1912.
Capturing the stories and worries of the surviving women of the Titanic. Items regarding the Titanic are incredibly rare, with only a handful known to exist. At auction, these family treasures, with their rarity and historical significance to the Titanic disaster, would be worth
$7,500. That's great.
A fine piece of a miniature folk portrait is brought to the show. This portrait was acquired by this guest at an antique shop. A very well-made portrait, it was painted on ivory, and is a portrait of a child, which is often desired by collectors. The artist who made this portrait is unknown, but a piece like this is thought to be from New England and done circa 1830. The case in which the portrait is kept is leather with mother-of-pearl and gilt embossing on it.
That's probably 25 years or so later than when the portrait was actually painted.
While the portrait is well done with captivating colors.
Well, the little petticoat.
Yeah.
One barefoot and one shoe foot.
You know the thing that got me, though? It was the look in the baby's eyes.
This is a fine miniature portrait with captivating artistry, and at auction, it would be worth...
This would be worth retail $12,000 to $15,000.
You are fooling me.
Step into the world of timeless elegance and historical charm as we unravel the stories woven into every brushstroke and curve of this vintage treasure. This beautiful pottery jug belonged to the guest's grandfather, who received it from a friend. This is a beautifully designed piece.
Magenta color, which is very interesting and very unusual, though they're also very popular.
There is a fabulous transfer on this side with emblems of Freemasonry. However, there are so many emblems present in the jug, which makes it hard to be specific. This jug is in a lovely pearlware glaze. If the puddling was yellowish, it would have been called creamware. These were the two different glazes that were put over earthenware bodies. The jug is believed to have been done at the Herculaneum factory.
Herculaneum was known for doing these wonderful transfer prints on these nice early jugs.
The spout is a noteworthy feature of this jug. The wonderful emblem of the American eagle is surrounded by this inscription with the date 1804 below it.
So that was for the election year, and it really dates the jug. The value changes dramatically when you talk about historically important jugs.
This significantly increases the value of the jug, given its historical significance as an American artifact.
And American historical jugs have an added importance. If these just had the Masonic emblems on either side,
in this pristine state, it is valued at about,
on collectors, people collecting American commemoratives, I would expect it to sell in the range of $2,000 to $4,000.
Wow, that's nice to learn.
Guest brought kachinas, one from Chicago and two from an Indian market. Kachinas are grouped into three categories: those designed for teaching, those crafted to appear aged but aren't, and contemporary ones produced for sale. Contemporary kachinas can fetch high prices, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars. These kachinas are hemi-kachinas, associated with ensuring a good corn crop. Symbols of fertility and clouds adorn the kachinas. Despite their authentic appearance, all three kachinas are revealed to be reproductions. Issues with the painting and carving suggest they're not genuine. Elongated shape of one kachina is stylistically incorrect. There has been a trend since the 1950s of creating old-looking kachinas for the market. Value of each reproduction is estimated to be
30s or a 40s kachina. It easily could have been $20,000, $25,000. Painting.
Yeah, I don't like the new kachinas either. I've got a collection of...
This mandala belongs to our guest's husband, and they have been together for over 40 years. It has gone everywhere with her husband, although he's never played it. When her husband was about 13, he was in a folk rock band and traded one of his guitars for this mandala.
Exchange, and so he gave him this. My husband's just simply carried this around with him. He's never played it.
The Lyon and Healy Company of Chicago made this mandala, which is related to the mandolin, but with a larger body.
They came out with this very novel shape, which has very sloping shoulders, so that the player can have access to the very highest frets.
It features a unique shape with sloping shoulders for access to the highest frets and a symmetrical design. This particular mandola is extremely rare, with only about 10 made, of which this is number 5. It has a spruce top, an ebony fingerboard inlaid with mother of pearl, and a beautifully flamed tiger maple back and sides stained to look like walnut. The faceplate is made of some kind of hard rubber, adding to its unique character. Based on its rarity and condition, I would place the auction value of this mandala at...
So I will place an auction value of this instrument at $5,000 to $7,000.
A pair of pistols was presented by the guest, which belonged to her grandfather. Initially, the pistols were assumed to be English dueling pistols. However, upon examination by the appraiser, it was revealed that they were German, dating to the mid-19th century. The casing of the pistol was English and labeled William Dooley from Liverpool. Contrary to the guest's belief, the pistols were not dueling pistols, but typical target pistols. The appraiser pointed out features like rifling and sight-adjusting management, indicating its type.
Is right here, you'll see behind the sight, there's a little nut there for adjusting the actual level of the sight.
Okay.
The item also bore a gold mark that read Krauss in Hertzberg, revealing its origin. How much would the worth be, including the casing?
The pistols themselves are probably $5,000 to $7,000.
Oh, okay.
With the case, you may be able to add another $1,000.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
The Kister Swivel Head Porcelain Doll, 1855, stands as a significant piece in doll-making history. Crafted by the esteemed Kister Porcelain Factory in mid-19th century Germany, known for exceptional quality. The doll's nodding head adds a touch of realism and charm, setting it apart from its contemporaries. This doll was crafted in Germany from the late 1840s to the late 1850s. Following the 1850s, heels became a common feature in shoes of the era. The porcelain's delicate beauty and durability make these dolls highly prized by collectors.
1,000 shows up with a swivel head, so you have something very unusual here.
The porcelain doll left the appraiser in awe as they valued the item.
Here, I would say she's between $4,000 and $5,000. Wow. So,
The family heirloom from Guest's grandparents. They had a store near Cache in Oklahoma, near Medicine Park. Our guest believed it was traded for goods at their store, probably from the 1930s. This piece is Comanche. It is from around Cache, Oklahoma. The back features a vinyl-looking material, which is not leather, indicating its origin. This toy baby cradle was made by prominent Comanche beadworkers.
Two prominent Comanche beadworkers that used that kind of material and made some of these toy cradles.
A common practice to enhance them with decorative elements like yarn. The doll inside the cradle is a composition doll from the same time period, valued at around $50. However, if the cradle were to be sold as is, it could fetch
exactly as it is. I would say $14,000 to $16,000.
Whoa, that's not too shabby.
Conservative.
Guest presented a chair acquired from a local dealer a year ago. The appraiser noted that it was rare to find furniture with signatures. One of them was a label from LJG Stickley Furniture Company, indicating that it was made between 1912 and 1920. Additionally, it had stamped Breakers Cottages, possibly by the Preservation Society or the Vanderbilt family. Despite the Stickley association, the chair's oak construction suggested it was utilitarian. The appraiser suggested that the chair probably came from Stickley Furniture's later production line.
Grandfather of the arts and crafts movement, he made very expensive furniture. His brothers then went on to make a little more pedestrian furniture, more affordable.
Originally bought for $750, the appraised value was around...
I paid $750 for it.
Well, I would probably insure this in the range of $800 to $1,200.
Oh, great.
This guest brings a continental porcelain coffee service to the show. This set belonged to her stepfather's family, who brought it over from Paris in 1929. This service is of German origin. It's a Berlin service in a classical design dating to around 1815. The royal scepter mark is located underneath this saucer.
This is the Royal Scepter Mark. The company was founded in 1752. And about 1763, it was taken over by courtly patronage.
These items were often decorated with scenic designs and sometimes with portraits. One important property of this service is its completeness. All of the items in the set are available. Another is the beautiful decorations on it.
The other thing that I think we'll notice is the wonderful decoration of it, whether it's the very rich gold tone finish or whether it's the slate blue, the russet colors.
This Egyptian motif was also very important, as it was a prominent theme. All these elements combined to create this wonderful piece. It is valued at about...
Really a very fabulous set. I think that at auction would probably fetch in the area of $6,000 to $8,000.
This vase, or ewer, was given to me on my 18th Christmas by my mother, who purchased it in a white elephant sale. This piece, made by Mount Washington Glass, is called Royal Flemish.
Is the most exotic of all the Mount Washington pieces, and it's called Royal Flemish.
It features designs of banners and shields around the top, a rare pattern. Despite not being signed, this piece stands on its own with its exquisite beauty. It has beautiful gilding and gold work all around, and when cleaned up and held to the light, it's like looking through a stained glass window. This particular piece has a twisted rope handle, adding to its unique and luxurious appearance. Appraised 25 years ago at $335, its current retail value
in the retail market in the $8,000 to $10,000 range.
Goodness!
This guest brings a vintage carved folk art cane for appraisal. The cane belonged to her husband's uncle, who carved it in the early 30s. He was from Eastern Oregon. This cane is also a transitional piece between the 19th and 20th centuries.
Wonderful that we actually know the maker of the cane. These things become almost a personal totem of the person's life.
Special cane, as it was mentioned in this letter from Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium. The letter states that the cane was displayed in the auditorium during the Chicago World's Fair in 1934.
Believe It or Not auditorium, ODD-atorium, in the Chicago World's Fair in 1934.
It is carved from a single piece of wood. The exact wood type is difficult to ascertain, but it is believed to be mahogany. The top of the cane shows this wonderful salamander design. Also, his signature is present on the cane with the date 1933. At the top of the cane, there's a symbol of the elk. This indicates that he was a member of the Elks organization.
Is the symbol of the elk. So he was a member of the Elks.
There are also great hunting scenes depicted along the length of the cane.
When we start to go down the cane, we see the carving of Buffalo Bill.
This is a truly incredible work of art.
Insuring this in $5,000 range.
Okay, that's awesome.
It is not often we see a book which has a humanitarian purpose behind its creation. This piece was purchased online by the guest, who was an archaeologist. It was published by the Tesk Pueblo Indian School back in the 1930s. The teacher and students put the book together, and the students drew and colored the maps.
So it's a book that was produced in 1936 by the third grade students.
What's fascinating about the creation of this piece was that they didn't have enough money to publish it, so they used their food money for a month to buy a mimeograph machine. Quite remarkably, this piece was crafted to help the students learn English and overcome their fear of books. Also, in the process of creating the book, they created mimeographed pages and a series of 10 maps.
I'm interested in reading. These Native American schools, the Indian schools, were very controversial, are controversial.
The map features a rose compass with a Zuni symbol on it and hand illustrations by the children. A piece that holds important virtue and expresses the cultural heritage of the Native Americans like this is a good addition to any collection that's valued at,
in an auction context, I would say it'd probably have an estimate of $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
Basket with a fascinating story. This basket was acquired by the guest's wife's grandfather as a prize for a poker game he won while on a train from Colorado to Illinois. This was back in the 1920s, and it had been in her family for about 100 years. It is an Apache Ola basket. It was made by the Apache people. The Apache are several southern Athabascan language-speaking peoples of the Southwest, the Southern Plains, and northern Mexico. Many of these large grain baskets were made. They were made to carry corn.
These very large grain baskets. These were to hold corn, and they're so heavy and so big, most of them have fallen apart.
Dates to around the 1900s, as baskets of this scale were first made after the 1880s. The shape of this vessel is called an ola in Spanish.
It also applies to pottery. It has to do with it. It's a storage container in this shape with a narrower neck.
The decorations are all classic, creating a beautiful piece.
The grain, which would have been corn kernels, tends to stretch them out, and they get much more misshapen.
Most baskets have fewer decorations compared to this basket. It is also a little skewered. This is a result of a natural process of gravity and the weight of the materials it carries.
Places where the little, we call them ticks, but they're little strips.
However, it is in pretty good shape, with very little shifting over its 100 years of existence. A lot of time and energy goes into making these baskets. At auction, this lovely basket is valued at about...
If it came up for auction today, I would expect it to bring $30,000 to $40,000.